The origins of animation takes from the celluloid film process first used to create motion pictures, but it could be argued that animation is similar to how digital film is today, allowing for filmmakers to tell whatever stories they want without the limitations of real life. Disney is seen as the pioneers in the genre of animation, bringing classic tales to life for an entire century that still resonates with multiple generations of viewers today. This makes their brand synonymous with nostalgia, an ideology the corporation seems to largely be profiting off since the digital turn of cinema has changed the way that Disney approaches the production, distribution, and exposition of their media. Although Disney is known for consistently producing feature-length animated classics every couple of years since Snow White in 1937, there was a period from 2016 to 2021 where they didn't release any original animated movies that wasn't a sequel, instead focusing on reimagining the stories of their classic animations, such as the 2019 remake of The Lion King, in quote-unquote live-action films, despite the majority of the production process taking place on computers to digitally construct the visuals rather than cameras capturing real live action. Achieving this facade of realism causes the characters to completely lack human-like expressions in the narrative's emotional turning points that the original accomplished with cartoon animation. As Lev Manovich states, animation openly admits that its images are mere representations, stylizations of reality rather than direct reconstructions like the animals in the Disney remakes, which try to combine the fantasy of talking cartoon animals within real-world limitations. As subsequently these digitalized live-action remakes can't achieve visual storytelling through identifiable emotions. An inherently human quality translated to filmmaking which built the appeal of Disney films to younger audiences and thus now creates nostalgia for their cinematic experience in the past. But this generation of kids are growing up in the digital landscape of streaming sites, causing the company to create Disney Plus to cater to their target audience's modes of watching. Here, their past media is readily available to stream at any time, allowing for children to binge watch all the Disney movies before they were born, erasing the separate cinematic experience of each film that caused past generations to now have nostalgic connections to Disney, which keeps them invested even as adults. Thus, the nostalgic ability of Disney's new digitally aesthetic content will be lost on the future generations of adults. And while I didn't like the remakes as films themselves, seeing it in a cinema environment definitely enhanced the enjoyability and viewing experience. But remakes like Mulan, Lady and the Tramp, and Pinocchio were directly distributed to Disney Plus, most likely watched on a small phone screen that could be paused at any time, even though the impact of detailed digital visuals benefit from being seen on the big screen in a closed cinema environment. As Cassetti Francesco suggests, to recognize something or someone means two things. First, it means to associate, even with difficulty, what we have before us with something we've already encountered. So it's not the digital aesthetic of the remake itself or the mode in which it's being watched that causes the emotional reaction, but the viewer recognizing the storyline that is associated with a nostalgic feeling of watching the original animated film. This shows how the contemporary need to integrate digital aesthetics into motion pictures is now more integral to Disney than providing good storytelling and a cinematic experience, as the power of nostalgia for past Disney tales is what keeps viewers invested, and they only need to make minor changes to the plot in order to keep the copyright to their older films' narratives. With Disney being the largest movie corporation in the world, it's no surprise they focus on the economic gain, but this has become more prominent since the digitalization of cinematic culture. It's caused them to move from hand-drawn 2D animation to completely digital CGI 3D films, and the 2019 Lion King production has more similarities to that of a video game with a VR environment that they created and artificially filmed as a substitute for a real-life set. And even though the original 90s animated Lion King utilizes CGI in a similar manner to this, as this documentary on the making of the 90s film says,
the computer might be able to keep track of hundreds of stampeding animals, but only a performer with a pencil can combine movement and emotion to bring a believable character to life.
In conclusion, the digitalization of movies in their production, distribution, and exposition is destroying the idea of the original process of film, the nostalgia that comes with it, and the cinematic experience as a whole, which is arguably what Disney built their integrity of being the best animation studio on to begin with. In a sense, they may be causing their own downfall.